Lewis is not dead. He's still the killer, but he ain't dead. He's 87 years old and he's breathing, thank goodness. I decided to go back through some of the Party Like a Rockstar archives and pull some of the cool footage of stories about Jerry Lee Lewis because they're cool. So anyway, now that we know he's not dead and we can celebrate that he is alive, let's check out a couple of these clips. The first one is with my buddy David Morgan. David's the singer of Three Dog Night, and he toured back in the day with Jerry Lee Lewis, Ricky Nelson, and he toured with Little Richard. It's crazy stuff. This video, though, is a story about Jerry Lee Lewis. There's actually 2 different little clips in there. You guys are going to dig them both. If you don't know who I am and you haven't watched any of these podcasts, that's cool. My background is I'm an ex-roadie. I worked for bands like Guns N' Roses, Stone Temple Pilots, The Chili Peppers, and Poison. I wrote a book called Memoir of a Roadie, and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios. It's done 3 million copies, and it's been a really fun ride. Anyway, let's get into David Morgan's clips.
Everybody was fairly hammered at the time. It was, but for the most part, he was just sweet as could be. And God, could he play and sing.
Yeah.
And, but one of my favorite stories about him was when I told him one of my favorite country songs ever. I got to tell you, it's what made Milwaukee famous, made a loser out of me. You may remember that song by Jerry Lee. It's late and she is waiting, and I know I should go home. You know the song. Every time I start to leave, you play another song. And what made Milwaukee famous made a loser out of me. And Jerry Lee's wife was there, and she was 23 years old. And she was probably the only one who could have gotten away with saying what she said. Jerry Lewis turned to me and said, "Yeah, I remember that song. Who cut that song? Was that Charlie Rich? Was that a Charlie Rich song?" And his wife went, "No, you idiot. You cut it yourself back in 1964. And then he remembered. He remembered all the words and everything like that. Once he remembered that it was actually him. But his wife was so cute. "No, you idiot." Well, Jerry Lee and I wrote a song together one night, just sitting around because we were at the airport and he was sitting in his airplane, waiting for everything to be loaded up. You could see the door was open. He had a keyboard in his lap and he was playing.
Jeez.
Sitting on the plane. He never stopped playing.
Those are awesome, right? Weren't they really good? This is fun too, right? This is my buddy Ernie Iniquez, and Ernie tells this great story about his grandma. I don't want to tell you more about it because it's a short clip and you guys are going to enjoy it. Give it a go. I hope you guys dig it. If you got any stories of your own, tell them to me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
My grandma's obviously, much older now. She's almost in her 90s, but she used to tell us, like, one of the first times she cleaned his house, and she went to go, clean out his bedroom and stuff like that, and start vacuuming and like wiping stuff down, and that he just would casually leave just little mountains of bloat everywhere in the house, like just within arm's length. He would always instruct her, like, "Hey, don't touch any of that. Don't clean that off the counter. Like, just leave it there. Clean around it." And she was like, "All right, cool." And he paid her well, so
it's cocaine. Don't touch it.
Yeah, don't clean that up.
Oh, that's not. Just leave it alone.
He still kicks around Memphis. He lives in Mississippi, just south of the city where I live, and he's probably 90-something years old now. And still,
wait, he's alive still?
Yeah, they just, oddly enough, they opened a hotel, and he was there.
He was there rocking out to Ginger.
Yeah, they hired him to come in and play, and it's just like,
Jesus Christ. I think I'm almost more impressed that his heart didn't explode in like his fucking 30s or his 40s.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, you can do so by clicking on the little button down there. If you want, you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. The handle is Joel Roadie.